Robert Russell Linklater was a Welsh-born Scottish writer of novels and short stories, military history, and travel books. For The Wind on the Moon, a children's fantasy novel, he won the 1944 Carnegie Medal from the Library Association for the year's best children's book by a British subject. Life and writings. Linklater was born in Penarth, Vale of Glamorgan, Wales, to the Orcadian master mariner Robert Baker Linklater and his wife Mary Elizabeth, daughter of James Young, also a master mariner. He was educated in Aberdeen Grammar School and Aberdeen University, where he was president of the Aberdeen University Debater. He spent many years in Orkney, and identified strongly with the islands, where his father had been born. His maternal grandfather was a Swedish-born sea captain, and he thus had Scandinavian origins through both parents. Linklater is a local Orkney name derived from the Old Norse, and throughout life he maintained a sympathetic interest in Scandinavia. Linklater served in the Black Watch in 1917–18 before receiving a bullet wound. He then became a sniper. His experiences of trench warfare are described graphically in his memoir Fanfare for a Tin Hat and at one remove in his 1938 novel The Impregnable Women, which describes an imaginary war against France. While an undergraduate at Aberdeen University in 1922, Linklater wrote the first musical comedy for the Aberdeen student show, Stella, the Barganella, with music by J. S. Taylor. 24 years later, during Linklater's tenure as rector of Aberdeen University, his play To Meet the McGregors was performed as the 1946 student show. After abandoning medical studies in Aberdeen, Linklater spent 1925–27 in Bombay, India as an assistant editor of the Times of India, and then travelled extensively before returning to Aberdeen as an assistant to the professor of English and then spending 1928–30 as a Commonwealth Fellow at Cornell and Berkeley. As a writer, Linklater's career took off in 1929. Although his greatest success came in the early years of the career, he was to publish 23 novels, 3 volumes of stories, 2 books of verse, 10 plays, 3 works of autobiography, and another 23 books of essays and histories. His third novel, Joanne in America, was a hugely popular picaresque, with some of the extravagance of Byron's Don Juan, based on his experiences of the absurd during the Prohibition, with its resulting gangsterism. It is sprinkled with memorable remarks. I've been married 6 months. She looks like $1 million, but she only knows 120 words and she's only got 2 ideas in her head. The other one's hats. The character returned in One in China. Linklater also wrote 3 children's novels, The Wind on the Moon, The Pirates in the Deep Green Sea, and Karina with Love. The first of these is about 2 sisters, whose adventures include becoming kangaroos and rescuing the father from a Hitlerian tyrant, enlisting the anthropomorphic help of a puma and a falcon. Its combination of storytelling skill and treatment of wider themes such as imprisonment and freedom won it the Carnegie Medal. Linklater's Orcadian and Scottish sympathies led him to some literary and political involvement in the Scottish Renaissance, culminating in his unsuccessful National Party of Scotland candidacy in the East Fife by-election of 1933. Magnus Merriman was an acerbic, fictionalized description of the debacle. He settled in Orkney with his new wife in 1933. The author's attitude to war and the moral implications of diplomacy became sharper in Judas, which explores the concepts of loyalty and treachery amidst a strong indictment of the desertion of Czechoslovakia by Britain and France in the name of appeasement. His own military career in World War II began with the Royal Engineers in Orkney, went on to the publicity department Department of the War Office, and culminated in service in Italy in 1944–45, which led to his novel about an equivocal Italian soldier, Private Angelo, which contrasts nationalism with a sense of national community. "I hope you will not liberate us out of existence," is a remark Angelo makes. As one reference work puts it, Angelo lacks the great and splendid gift of courage, and consequently makes a poor soldier, although he is especially assiduous in retreating, and ultimately deserts. Quote, in 1952 Linklater published a semi-official account of the campaign in Italy. Linklater moved back to the Scottish mainland in 1947 to Pitcairn House near Hill of Fern, in Rossshire. His abilities and reputation as a novelist waned somewhat, but he turned to historical writing, and with great effect to autobiography. He went to Korea in 1951 as a temporary lieutenant colonel, honours. Linklater served as rector of Aberdeen University in 1945–48 and received an honorary degree the following year. He was appointed CBE in 1954, served as Deputy Lieutenant of Ross and Cromarty County in 1968–73, and was elected a Fellow of the Royal Society of Edinburgh in 1971. Family. Linklater married Marjorie McIntyre, an Edinburgh-born, English-educated actress and campaigner for the arts and the environment, on 1 June 1933. She later became active in local politics, and on the Scottish Arts Council in 1957–63. They had 4 children. Their elder son, Magnus Linklater, is a journalist and former editor of The Scotsman, and the second, Andrew Linklater, was also a writer and journalist. Their elder daughter, Alison, is an artist. The younger daughter, Kristen Linklater, is an actor, voice teacher and author of Freeing the Natural Voice, and the grandson by Kristen, Hamish Linklater, is also an actor. Eric Linklater died in Aberdeen on 7 November 1974 and was buried at Array on Mainland, Orkney. Main works.